Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the party. It is Oprah's Open Mic. And what season are we on today?
Or what season 2. No, ask me more easy questions.
What episode,
hit me up,
baby?
Hit me up. Ask me how old I am.
You're old.
I am old.
You got wrinkles now. I love it.
I don't
what
have as
episode
many
are we
as
now?
you. 13. Welcome to the episode 13.
Okay, guess who we have today? You guys have asked some really good questions because we have our dog trainer here. This is Kevin. He's with Circle Canine, and you guys are going to love him. He has taught me so much about dogs. Like, I've trained most of our dogs by ourselves, and it was really fun to learn a ton of new ways. You had a totally different outlook on training than anyone I've ever talked to.
Bunch of answers to our questions that we didn't want to hear at all.
Can you tell us, one thing besides the style training you guys I thought was absolutely incredible. I loved your story of how you guys started. Can we go over just hit on it for a second? Like, how did you guys get into this and everything?
Yeah. So briefly, when I got out of college, I got very lucky to be part of a startup company that made electric vehicles, and that moved me down here in 2009. And that company, my partner got cancer and passed away, and the company folded. And at that time, I was making videos and whatnot for the company, and I said, well, I know how to make videos. So I started a video production company and photo production company, and we did that for a while. And then I did that from 2010 to about 2017.
So how we edit this episode, you will be very critical of our producer Levi and what he can and cannot do.
Picking him apart.
Pick us apart.
What you guys are doing here was not part of the equation when I started.
Back in the day, there was no podcast then.
Yeah, I mean, not like there are now, and there was no Instagram or TikTok, and there wasn't people making content like they are now.
Okay.
And so what happened? I got into photo and video, and I was doing it. Things were going good, and then people just started getting into it, and then it got really hard to run the business and make a living because I had an office and overhead and a studio, and then people were doing the same quality stuff out of their bedroom,
with
their phone. And so I could have kept doing it, but the joy of it was gone, and so I got out of it. And while I was doing video production, I'd done some video work for some dog training companies. And I got to peek under the cover, and I got to see what they were doing, and it's not exactly what people think at all. And
the dog training
did
portion,
you see
not
some bad
the video
stuff?
production.
Not necessarily. I mean, I saw
You hear horror stories, and everyone's always like, did you really, when I was sending Shaq to you guys at first to get worked on, people like, did you really look into it? Because you really can't trust dog trainers. Oh my gosh, a lot of them are getting abused. I was like, I actually got a lot of recommendations, so I actually feel comfortable. But that's always a fear of people's.
Yeah, and dog training is like this black box. Like, what's going on in there, right?
There's half of, like, when you send your dog off, you don't know what's going on. You have this black box. You've not really ever met you until you drop off your dog, and you're hopeful your dog doesn't like the trainer better, and doesn't want to come home. And then you also don't want them to come home scared of the trainer and like begging to be home and like skeletal, right? And so you got to meet in the middle, but you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and what we try to do to overcome some of these obstacles is we're going to come and meet you. We're going to answer the phone. We want to validate ourselves.
That has been incredible, actually, when you come to our house.
That is 100%, because we talked for an hour on the phone. And you answered, you made me feel so comfortable, and you just told me your belief and how you've gone through this process and how you take care of them. And you made me feel so comfortable and secure. And you're like, I can help you. And I can help you with all your issues, which we had some major ones that we had to really work on. But I think it's not abnormal issues. I think that the issues we were having, maybe one of them was abnormal, but the main issue, attacking at the door, was a normal issue I think a lot of dog owners have.
That is totally common. When you have a pack of dogs, managing the pack is, having problems, that's common. But I could be the best trainer in the world, which I'm not. It doesn't matter if you guys aren't happy and comfortable. It doesn't matter if the dog's not happy and comfortable. Like, we got to start at a place where everybody's in a good mood.
So is that how you started your business after you saw behind the curtain of the other businesses?
Yeah. So I got on Rover. Rover was a new app.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And at the time, when I shut down my video photo business, I was also in the throes of a problem with alcohol. And that certainly didn't help the outcome of that business.
No.
And I was going to AA every single day, and I just said, I'm going to start walking dogs and babysitting dogs, and I quit drinking, and I got my start on Rover, just handling dogs. And then I got a job working in a couple of different kennels, 2 very different kennels, and I got to see kind of like the ugly side of training with one kennel, and then I got to see kind of a reckless side of daycare at a kennel that I worked on, and I want to take what I've learned from these 2 experiences. I want to take what I've learned from Rover, and I want to do my own thing. And so teaching people how to walk dogs on leashes, cool, right? Teaching people how to use a crate, cool, right? These are all things that can help people move forward with their dogs, but you don't have to be like a terribly proficient, like advanced trainer to do this crazy stuff. It's just household management type stuff. So I started this like little training company. I use quotation marks because there's people that have spent their whole life, decades. They have certifications, and I don't want to. What they do, and people that have educations in this, it's very admirable. And
I hate when people call me a DJ because people spend their whole life actually doing
And he'll DJ events
good music
like,
and putting music together.
on
And they're like,
Spotify.
yeah, I just run music off Spotify. So yeah, I get that. I do a lot of quotations.
Yeah, but you know what? Do you make people? Do you put them in a good mood?
Heck yeah, I
Do they have fun?
Well, except her. When she doesn't like what I'm doing,
I turn
boy
around
howdy, do I know it real quick.
when he plays the wrong songs.
Yeah, and but you can still show people a good time.
Yeah.
You can have a great night, and you can do it again and again and provide a great experience. And so I wanted to kind of package that up and provide a great experience, a great dog care experience to people. You know, training is a part of it, but really when Riley was with us and Kobe was with us, we were tending to your dog. So I look at us kind of like shepherds. We're here to provide a really cool experience and open spaces, and we're the guardians of the dogs.
So that's the thing is not only do you do, actually that's the question I got is, do you guys do boarding and not just training?
Yeah, and that's it. And so as our business developed, you know, I can get these training opportunities, these personal sessions, you know, but what people really need is a place to leave their dog that they know is safe, that they're going to get updates. And a lot of people...
Lots of updates. It is
Awesome
the
updates.
coolest thing
Awesome
ever. So many videos of each dog individually. It was the best part to us that we got. We knew that everything was good. The dogs always looked so happy, and they came home so tired. It was amazing.
There wasn't as even of updates of all the dogs. I wanted I wanted less of Shaq. I wanted more of Riley.
Well, Shaq was in a different house.
I could have.
He's being critical. Don't listen to
Yeah,
Sean.
no,
Like,
yeah.
sure.
See, like he's filing it away, and you know it's just going to be a better experience
We
for
got a ton
everybody.
of
I'm here for
Travis
helping.
too with Shaq.
Yeah,
Tons,
so-
and we love it.
So we realized that there's this deficiency in dog boarding, right? There's a lot of boarding places where they get the dogs together, they have group play, and they do all these things in groups, but there's a lot of dogs that don't fit into that model. And
Yeah.
so
Shaq.
our model is an individually based model
Yeah, we
where
saw
each
that.
dog gets handled one-on-one with a handler, and we do a couple of structured activities with each dog every day. And that's what people really need.
That was cool.
And through the boarding experience, this passive training happens. It opens up small questions and conversations with the customers, and they see their dog on a leash downtown, or they see their dog at a leash in a park, or they see their dog in a context that they hadn't seen before, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this too maybe, or this looks so cool. Regardless, the individual feels good about their experience. And training is funny. Like, a lot of people don't like what we have to say. They don't want to hear the changes. And I understand why. But it can become contentious and can become awkward and it can become strange. If you take the training element out and you focus on the boarding, you can serve a lot more people and make them happy without trying to, turn their world upside down at home. You need to change this. Even when I just got here, you said you probably don't like that the window's open. Nobody was barking. Everything was fine.
So yeah, part of the suggestion that Kevin had made is because we were having these problems at home, and you had instant suggestions. Well, these are the things that I do. These are the things that I've suggested. These things can help. And I personally got that right away. Is like these things can help. Now, how it fits into your life, your lifestyle, how you can go about your day, you're going to have to figure it out yourself. but these do work.
And the variables that we really focus on is food and space. You know, we live in tight quarters. A lot of people, cities, a lot of dogs.
Yeah, and part of it was like closing the blinds or putting up frosting on the blinds.
Frosting on the windows.
Frosting on the windows. We like to live in a fishbowl. We like that sunlight. And I think, haven't you run into that same problem at your house?
Yeah, I put frosting. My dogs are
because your wife, I think, didn't she wanted more sunlight?
Yeah, I wanted to put frost on everything, and she's like, "You can put frost on these windows, but not those windows."
Yeah, it's a compromise, and it worked too, right? Or at least you know what I mean. You get as much as you can with the training, and you work it with your own life, and make your spouse happy.
So we drop. You do try to make me happy most of the time until you don't. We drop the blinds when we leave to try to keep it quiet to make sure that they don't bark nonstop. But our rule is you can bark, tell people they're here, and then after we've had our fill, like you've warned us, thank you. The word is thank you, and they're supposed to stop. For the most part, they will do that as long as it's not the doorbell. And that was the biggest thing that we needed help with. Like for Shaq wanted to eat every single person that came in the house. That's why we really wanted
and
to go
his
training.
energy made the energy of all the other dogs. It's a small house for a pack, and it wound it up.
And I felt like I was like, "There's no way they're going to be able to fix this." But Travis works with you guys, and he was freaking amazing with him. He worked so hard. He got him on the treadmill, which I tried forever and couldn't do.
It helps that Travis nearly likes Shaq more than his own dog.
Travis loved Shaq.
But I couldn't get him to admit it. He loves his dog. He loves his dog.
He does love his dog so much.
Sweet dog. He brought him by.
But he worked
right there.
so
Shaq
much and
he
got Shaq on the treadmill, which we've been doing every day, and he's doing so good. I do less food now each time. People ask, what's the purpose of the treadmill? I think it's for their brain. I also think it's for when it's too hot or too cold and I can't get them outside, then I can still get them exercise. Is there anything else in that?
I mean, it's more convenient. You don't have to go outside. Like you can put them on the treadmill and maybe read a book or do something else, right?
Work.
It's a little bit of a way to automate your dog, your dog care experience.
And we don't have like a special dog treadmill, although we had looked into buying them.
No,
and
we have a regular
helped
one.
us. Yeah,
use the one that you currently have. Yeah. You don't need to buy a new piece of gear.
Yeah, and it's worked great. Each time he gets a little bit better and better and better, and he's staying on there longer.
It was surprising that like incremental training was better than just yelling at him to do it.
Yep. And so to speak to that, like part of our ethos is we want dogs to do things because they want to do them, not because they have to.
You guys are so positive in your training. You do a very positive reinforcement training, which I actually really liked.
We love it, and I've really pursued more positive reinforcement since I met Travis. I was running this little kennel where I'm doing training and boarding, and I'm doing most of it by myself. I got this DM one day on Instagram from this gentleman that said, "Hey, I just got out of prison. I learned how to train dogs in prison."
Which I think is the coolest thing ever. He trained greyhounds.
And when he told me that, I knew about these prison programs.
I didn't know about them.
And when I say like I'm a trainer, Travis is a trainer. He should be in this seat. He should be answering these questions because he received a very formal education while he was incarcerated. And he was this gentleman that he's learning how to do this. He got out, and we were able to meet each other. And all of a sudden, I captured this energy that he has and this spirit and this information. And I was able to say, "Hey, Travis, here are these people. Tell them what you know." And then we met Chris. And Chris has a background in veterinary offices. She has a background in grooming. She has a background in a lot of the animal care, dog care outside of training, and she wanted to get into it. And now she's a super proficient trainer that Travis has taught. Travis has taught me so much about training. And now we've got this little team. We have a part-timer, Nell, on the weekends, and she crushes. We bought a truck. We bought another truck.
Well, because they come and get your dog and bring them back as a service. You can choose that or you can drop them off, but that helps us because we run out of hours in the day.
I can't tell you how thankful I was at how quickly you were able to be like, yeah, we can come.
All right, well,
we're like 20 minutes from you guys.
Oh my God, it was so helpful.
So
Thank you.
crazy. Okay, leash pulling. That is a question that was asked a bunch. What do you find to be the best answer? Because I'm walking through downtown. I can't just let them walk free, Nelly.
Right.
What do you find the best?
So, in general, dog training is philosophy. Okay. Yeah. Everything that we talk, there's so many philosophical considerations in leash walking. If you're going on the same walk every day and you're going in the same direction, we call that a linear walk. The dog knows the route. It's going to go to the finish line, and it's going to beat you to the finish line.
The dog always wants to stop at the same bar where I drink every single day. like
we don't go the same route every time. So thankfully, I'm pretty lucky with that.
Yeah,
but they do.
So what we tell some people is like, okay, cool. You've been walking in your neighborhood. You go by a neighbor and their dog barks through the fence and you have a problem and you've been doing that every day. The dog's been conditioned to behave a certain way on its walk that you've been doing. So let's not do that walk anyway. In fact, just stay in front of your house. Just stay in your driveway. Walk back and forth. Bring your food with you.
A long leash. That was a big one that you said if you're going to do that, then you have a long leash. They can just use their nose and smell because the walk was more about them than it is about you.
Yep. And, if you want to get better at leash mechanics, do 180s. Walk back and forth in your driveway. That's the simple answer. But do people want to do that?
That's tough.
Right? And folks don't want to do that.
We actually did that when we were working on. We use pinch collars or prong collars. Some people are very much against them. I'm 100% for them. All of our dogs wear them, but they only wear them when we're walking. What is your belief on using a pinch collar?
I used to use a lot more of equipment like that. I use a lot less of it because I've gotten better at training. But there's nothing wrong with this equipment if it's used to help your life and the dog's life navigate the world easier. A lot of our customers, they don't use pinch collars at our kennel, but they'll drop their dog off with a pinch collar on because they use it at home and it helps them. And that's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So a pinch collar can help on a walk. Walking one back and forth can teach your dog how to follow you better.
Hey, we're not doing the same thing. You don't know what's going to happen. Look at that. I'm turning around. You better come with me.
Your dog will be looking up at you like this. And if they're looking up at you like this and you're giving them their meal instead of feeding them in a bowl on the ground.
That was huge. And you had said this a little bit. We've taken a lot of what you guys have offered us at home, and it has helped a lot. One of the biggest things that has helped a lot for you in that week of training you had our dogs was taking their daily food allotment and using that during walks, during training, during any part of the day, and actually not feeding them out of a bowl.
What I tell people, most people feed their dog in a bowl twice a day at the same time. You become the waiter. If you pick it up and bring it with you on the walks, now you're the CEO. You're given a paycheck and the dog's doing what you want it to do, right? And so think about how we perceive a waiter versus how we perceive a CEO. And when you're in the house and something's going wrong, who's your dog going to listen to, the waiter or CEO?
Yeah, they listen to me.
They'll listen to the CEO, right?
CEO. They listen to me, yeah.
I feel like the dogs have to know that the alpha is us.
So alpha theory isn't something that we promote. Alpha theory isn't necessarily accurate.
Oh, so you say CEO then more so than alpha?
Right.
Would you not say CEO and alpha are kind of the same thing, or am I kind of dumb?
I don't really know. Is the boss the same thing as a leader?
I think
can be depending on how you use the term. I guess
modern terminology anyway. The whole alpha, what he was talking about, the historical take on alpha has been wrong. And I think we're relearning the idea of how packs work and what the alpha really means. So in essence, moving on from that theory, and I could be wrong, we're just not using that term anymore. It could be close to the same thing. I understand what you're talking about. Who's in charge? Who is the CEO? And in your sense, house, if you want to say alpha, go ahead. There's just an actual theory.
We want them to know that we are in charge. When we tell them something, they have to listen.
And there's a few ways to do that. We can do that by incentivizing them with something that they want. Or we can use some sort of consequence, perhaps, or some sort of force and say, you have to do this because we're doing this right now. And we really try to favor the incentivizing part, right? We want dogs.
It's not want them try. You guys have it nailed.
Do it for sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're humans. And we get frustrated. And to just reward all the time, it becomes challenging.
You're like, hey, mofo, you better freaking listen today. That would be me.
That'd be me too. I got nothing to say there.
So what we say is let's reflect on ourselves, right? I pay attention to a couple trainers. One of my favorite trainers says, if we learn to aggressively manage ourselves and our own behaviors and our own emotions, aggressively manage ourselves, the problems around us get better.
That's so true, actually.
Right?
Just this morning, as we were learning how to swim, and we talked about this, Aaron and I were doing an Ironman. I got frustrated in the pool, and because I was drinking water with my form, and I had to stop and take a breather mid lap, and I got frustrated and slapped the water. And I'm in my own head. I'm not really trying to I'm not mad at the teacher that I had. And she's like, "Hey, I really need you to start failing more gracefully." That's not Kevin in my my arsenal right now. I fail very poorly.
She says you're drinking water.
But what you're saying, it's not just with dogs. It's with yourself, obviously. It's a lifelong lesson that I haven't learned 43 years in.
So, all right, so back to
43 years in. I'm 44. You're looking good, man.
Yeah, we are looking good.
We are good, man.
I like you.
There we go.
Hey.
Go, baby.
So leash pulling, you say the best thing is go back and forth so they learn to look up at you and follow you and not take the same route. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and do that.
Surprise, dog. We're going over here.
And repetition is key.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to load up your dog in the car and go somewhere where there's nobody else. If you go into a neighborhood that's really dense like this and it's like impossible, some people, they walk out their condo door, it's impossible to load up the dog and go somewhere.
You guys did that a ton with our dogs. All right, so
that was fun to see. Thank you.
Best way to stop pulling and barking on walks. How do you get a dog? We went over the pulling. How do we get dogs to stop barking on walks?
Well, barking, there's a meaning. They're barking for a reason. And barking can be conditioned at home. If barking is part of their arsenal at home, whether, let's say a dog is at home looking out the window and it sees the UPS driver or the Amazon person, it practices barking all, at home. Yeah. And then we go on a walk. How do I get my dog to stop barking on the walk? Well, you got to get it to stop barking at home, right?
All right.
First, we want to stop practicing the behavior. So not barking on the walk might mean you have to shut your shades at home. They're connected. It's all connected. And we want our dogs to be comfortable on the walk. If you're going on a walk on a route and it's seeing other dogs that are making him uncomfortable, it's fair for him to be uncomfortable. We can't say, don't be uncomfortable right now. Stop barking. If you're uncomfortable, don't be. It's not going to work. And so we just have to recognize, like, if your dog's uncomfortable, we have to do something different. You can't just squelch the behavior because it could have a negative ramification. It could affect your relationship.
Did that have does that have anything to do with confidence? You guys talked about confidence level a lot during your training. And by the way, their communication was unbelievable. It was fantastic. So you guys worked through an app.
Yeah, it was Shaq.
What was that app called?
Oh, wait.
We have this app. It's got our name on it. The company,
Full Circle Canine. I don't know if we'd ever actually said it.
Yeah, it's this company. We bought this app from this company, and they branded it with our name, and that's how we communicate primarily with our customers.
So much communication.
Yeah, it was very nice.
So Shaq, we had the problem with the barking at the door. We also had the problem with lunging sometimes walking. He would want to lunge at another dog. But since he came back, it's like night and day. And you kept talking about his confidence is lacking. His confidence is lacking. He's uncomfortable. And you tell that by tail, ears?
Well, tell me, what was Shaq like the first time you and I met? You came out the front door.
He didn't like you.
Right. And what was he wearing? The prong collar.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to risk him lunging at you.
Right. And this time, you guys have made changes at home. It's not just the time that the dog spent with us. You guys made changes at home. I came home and your pack was divided. It was separated. And Shaq was by himself. You didn't bring all the other dogs out. And so, yeah, confidence, sure. We want our dogs to be confident. I mean, barking it's also a normal thing. I take my dog on a walk, it'll start barking. I'm saying, okay, that's normal. I'm fine with it. And I'm managing myself.
But not
my
the
own
lunging,
emotions.
though.
My dog, Pork Chop, is a lunger. She's a reactive dog. And so to manage Porky, I take her places. I walk at certain times of the day. I walk her at 5 a.m. And it's me agreeing, it's okay to agree with our dogs. And so rather than me going on a walk that I want to, my dog's barking, it's lunging, don't do this, don't do that. No, I'm going to aggressively manage myself and get up at 5 in the morning when my dog is all by itself.
And make it happen.
And that's how I'm addressing it with my dog at home.
Because you have one that's pretty challenging right now.
Wicked. My Pork Chop, if she reacts, she'll turn and bite you. And that's why she's with me. And she should, some might consider her to be a death row dog, but I fell in love with her. She got abandoned kind of at her kennel. I'm like, what the heck are we going to do with this dog? Well, I guess it's coming inside with me.
That's tough.
It was tough, but then I decided, very consciously said, this dog can come into my life and it's reactive. It will always be reactive. It will always run the risk of turning and biting me if I don't manage it in the right way. This is an opportunity for me to look inwardly to myself. What can I do to say, it's okay to bark? I'm not going to put you in that position, though. I'm going to do things to put you in a different position so that you don't feel the need to. So we walk at different times a day. I walk up and down my driveway with my pork chop.
You do have a good driveway, though, for it.
I got a good driveway for it.
I mean, if I walked up and down my driveway, we're going 2 steps.
Yes, you guys, you can stay in front of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And so Porky is an exercise for me. She can't do a bunch of heel work. She can't do a bunch of cool stuff. She doesn't seem impressive. A win for me is her going on a walk and not barking. And so if I'm going to be able to empathize and be there with the folks that we serve, if I have a dog in my home that offers me the same challenges, it's going to help me translate to the folks like yourself.
So, okay, your dog is a reactive dog. You've done a lot in your own personal life to adjust to that. When you have people come to your house and friends and family or whatever, what do you do to manage it?
They are all away. No dogs are out.
No dogs
Crates.
are out. Okay.
Crates. Everybody's in their office. Everybody's in their den. And that's a personal choice. I'm not saying that's the right and only way to do it.
You got a niece who really wants to see pork chop. She's heard so much about pork chop. And you're like, please, 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 Uncle Kevin, I want to see pork chop. And you're like, you go.
we would create a scenario and we would find a way to make the intro happen outside, and then we would bring party inside.
That's the biggest thing we learned.
Yeah, that worked so well for
it
Shaq.
did. I would say anyone that's struggling with that, meet the person outside.
Neutral ground.
That's what Travis kept saying. Meet them on neutral ground, and then let them throw a treat. Don't hand it to them. Throw a treat.
Oh yeah,
make eye contact.
Load up your guest with ammo.
Yeah,
food
and that
ammo.
really has helped because we have people coming in and out for podcasts. We have Levi coming over. We have people coming over. Lots of stuff. Just
she says this a lot. We don't really have friends coming over.
Not friends.
Not friends.
Levi's like, wait, am I not a friend now? I'm here every week. But no, we have people coming in and out. And so we've really learned from you guys that meeting, if you guys take one thing from this, do that, please.
Yeah, if you have a reactive dog.
If you have a dog that's aggressive at the door, don't let the doorbell ring.
Well, I guess
and try to meet them outside.
Have the dog put away. 2, being on neutral ground.
I tell that the step to having people and dogs in the house together, 1, dog's always in the crate. If you can do that for a month, right, that's the first step because you've learned how to separate the dog from the equation. The next step, okay, let's get the dog on a leash. Let's meet the people outside. Now, that's failed if the person's knocked on the door. It's failed if they rang the doorbell. So you have to instruct the people. And the way that I instruct the people is with signs all over my property. Don't knock on this door ever.
But the thing nowadays is most people, unless it's Amazon and FedEx, they're not coming in your house anyways. But most people that are coming over to come inside, you know somebody's coming to your house. Like most people don't just say, I'm going to go knock on so-and-so's door. That just doesn't happen nowadays.
Right.
I feel like we always know when someone's coming over.
And so let's be guardians for our dogs. Let's be leaders to our dogs. Instead of letting them make the first decision when somebody comes over, let's be leaders to the people and say, wait outside. I'm going to meet you outside. And so now
we just text people and told them that.
Totally. And now the dog's like, oh, cool. I don't have to make the first decision when that person comes over. You're making the first decision. You're controlling all the variables.
Smooth. He came today. Levi came today. We didn't have one bark. That is the biggest victory for us.
Totally. And it what a great thing. We didn't bark once. That's a victory. Wonderful. Is that what dog training was like 40 years ago? Probably not.
Well, Shaq has already been to dog training. He went to training for 4 weeks. It was a very different style of dog training, actually. And he has taken so much more to your style of dog training than he did to the other style of dog training. Like when I say night and day, and I'm telling you, Travis came when he brought Shaq back. And he was here for like 2 hours helping us with every question we get. Everything, working with the treadmill and showing me like everything. He watched him play water.
I think he didn't want to give up Shaq. I think that was part of it. He loved our dog so much.
He loves Shaq. Travis connects with the dogs in a way that, I mean, to learn in the context that he learned is so incredibly unique. You know, he didn't get an online certification. He didn't go to like a 3-week associate dog training school. Like he lived, breathed, and dwelled with dogs for 5 years, so incredibly closely. But another thing about Travis is while he was learning to train dogs, he was working on himself. He was working on his own emotional state of mind. And so there's a lot of, in the dog training world, I tell people it's like an episode of Tiger King. You got all these crazy characters that think all these crazy things, and it's like entertaining and not really entertaining and sometimes scary. But Travis, through his journey, has he and I communicate with Chris and our team in a fashion that is so even.
I can see that. The most chill communication. I mean, yours is, I was like, oh my God, it's okay. I'm like, and I go hi and you just say, okay.
And Travis is, he works on himself. He works with the dogs. It's all connected. Who we are as people definitely impacts our dogs, obviously. And so oftentimes, if we want the dogs to change, we have to change. And so
that's a big one. That's very much
because
a big
they
one.
will feed off our personalities, our moods. They feed off our moods.
That's why our dogs are so handsome.
That's
It's
right.
you.
No, it's us. No, you're
it's
part
us.
of that.
No,
You're
thanks.
pretty.
I look beautiful today.
It's a good
Straight
looking
out of the
pack in
pool.
this house. I'm telling you.
All right. So recommendations for stress on dogs during storms. That's a good question. Do you believe in the thunder shirts or?
Hold on. Before he answers that question, this episode is proudly brought to you by Addy. ADDYI.com. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, ladies, you've been hearing me talk about my libido, or more accurately, my lack of libido. Now let me tell you about what helps me get it back. Addy, or flibanserin. Addy is FDA approved and has been clinically proven to increase sexual desire in certain premenopausal women who have been bothered by low libido. I started to lose my libido in my 30s, and it feels so good to have my drive back. So if you feel like you've lost your desire, you want to get it back, stop falling for the snake oils and ask your doctor about Addy today, or go to addy.com. That is ADDYI.com.
And now I get to do some house cleaning. I wanted to read something like this as fast as I can forever. Here we go. Addy is for premenopausal women with acquired generalized hypoactive sexual desire disorder, HSDD, who have not had problems with low sexual desire in the past and who have low sexual desire no matter the type of sexual activity, the situation, or the sexual partner. The low sexual desire is troubling to them and is not due to a medical or mental health problem, problems in the relationship, or medicine or other drug use. Addy is not for use in men or to enhance sexual performance. Your risk of severe low blood pressure and fainting is increased if you drink 1 to 2 standard alcoholic drinks close in time to your Addy dose. Wait at least 2 hours after drinking before taking Addy at bedtime. Your risk of severe low blood pressure and fainting is also increased if you take certain prescription, over-the-counter, or herbal medications, or have liver problems. Low blood pressure and fainting can happen when you take Addy, even if you don't drink alcohol or take other medications. Do not take it if you are allergic to any of the ingredients in Addy. Allergic reactions may include hives, itching, or trouble breathing. Sleepiness, sometimes serious, can occur. Common side effects include dizziness, nausea, tiredness, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, and dry mouth. See full PI and medication guide, including boxed warning, at addy.com/PI or call 844-PINK-PILL.
Ask your doctor about Addy today, or go to addy.com. That is ADDYI.com, baby.
We're back, and we're going to talk about thunder shirts.
All right.
Thunder shirts. The dogs and thunder.
We are back.
I brought everybody back, but we are back.
We are back, baby. We're talking about thunder shirts. What is your beliefs on thunder shirts?
So, oftentimes storms, are a big problem for a lot of people. We don't necessarily know when they're coming, and what do you do when it's happening? There's not a lot you can do in the moment. A thunder shirt can help. Some people like to use trazodone to.
Didn't work.
And
No.
Did you do it as the thunder was happening?
No, we do it
beforehand. We did it beforehand, and then one into it too.
Like fireworks for us.
Okay.
So that was Kobe, by the way, and there is no
nothing.
amount of trazodone that will calm that boy down.
3, he's not very big. I mean, he's like 70 pounds, and 3 didn't do a dang thing for him.
So maybe put him in crates in this room that we're in right now.
Yeah, so as long as he's attached to us, he's fine.
Okay.
So, but we wouldn't leave. If I knew fireworks going to go off, we aren't leaving.
It's a tough one. A lot of people struggle with it.
What do you think about putting on as general background noise, like a YouTube video of Thunderworks?
Fireworks, so they
Fireworks,
can
oh my
learn, and
goodness.
thunder, so they can learn to get more comfortable with it.
That is a consideration that might help, but we also, consider that fireworks and thunder they might be, it might be more than just hearing something, right? It could be feeling something. Those tones, there could be more to that than we're aware of.
Oh
right?
yeah, because our sense is so.
So
better.
we need to like put like thumpers in the house, so it just makes
Some
the place.
physical
Make the whole house shake.
agitation.
Yeah, like do we just bring the whole fear?
So maybe the crate is probably the best thing, a trazodone, or maybe try the thunder shirts. But there's not a lot. You can't stop it.
You can't stop it. You could put on some heavy metal while it's happening. I might do that if I know there's a storm, I might turn the Sonos on in the kennel and put on some heavy metal to kind of like interrupt whatever might be happening outside.
Smart.
If if there's gonna be fireworks, let's get a heavy workout in with the dogs. Let's get a heavy workout in with the dogs.
And then trazodone, good night.
And then trazodone, then crate,
Yeah.
But there is no right answer. It's a lot of the questions that folks have, there is no right answer. And something like that, you got to try. Some people struggle with it. It's just the way that it is sometimes.
Yeah, fireworks are tough.
All right, here's a question. I've never heard of this. What do you do with a dog diagnosed with rage syndrome?
Rage syndrome. I don't know what rage syndrome is.
Sounds like someone that rages like a human.
I would say it's a dog that just snaps every once in a while, right?
Right?
It sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
I would ask, what's your community like? Are there children in the home? Are you going to dog parks? What do we do about a dog with rage syndrome? Well, if it was just me and the dog, I'd probably be able to work. But if there's other humans involved, if there are other dogs involved, are we taking the dog on walks? Like what is the context of this rage that we're experiencing?
What triggers it, basically? What are the triggers for the rage is basically the big question, right?
Mm-hmm. And we always also have to ask, like, are certain dogs not safe in our community? You're not going to find a dog with rage syndrome coming out of the Humane Association, or we need to make sure that people are, that families are set up for success. And if you have a Russian roulette dog in your house, I mean, maybe the dog lives in its crate its whole life. I don't know.
Like this dog, Shaq, I wouldn't put Shaq with kids. I wouldn't risk it.
I love to hear you say that. I love that.
I would not have kids come to this house. It wouldn't happen.
I love that. Some folks ask us, well, I want my Shaq dog to get along better with kids. It's like, we can try. But do you want to,
It's not worth the risk. And I know I'm going to have grandpa.
And we don't like the kids that are going to come over. Like, we like Shaq more than any kids we know that would come over.
I know we're going to have grandkids at some point, and I'm just like, well, looks like Granny's not babysitting
Who's going to
in our
have
house.
grandkids first? Hayden by accident or Hunter on purpose?
I would say Hunter. So the answer for that one is you got to figure out the triggers of what's causing the rage, and then you can address the issue once you know the triggers, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
there's not a lot of easy answers to these things. How's your relationship with the dog? Do you have a good relationship with the dog? And so when all this stuff is happening, if the dog feels like it's on its own and doesn't see you as a leader, if it feels like you're a waiter, the dog might be like, oh crap, it's
trying to get that
shit's
CEO
hitting the
position.
fan outside. So maybe we need to work on your relationship for the thunder and everything.
It's your fault. Let's be very clear, okay?
But actually,
it's
a lot of stuff with training our dogs is our fault as owners.
I don't want to use the word fault. I try to be particular.
I'll say I will blame myself for issues like.
Oh, I love blaming you.
I'll blame you too. The issues we have are lack of knowledge for us, or things that we could have done better that I didn't know to do better, or I was too lazy to do better. I will never say I don't have time to do better, because the answer is we all have time. If it's important enough to us, we'll make time. If not, we'll make an excuse. And so I feel like some of the issues I had, I didn't know what to do.
And so that's why we try very hard coming into these circumstances to not point fingers or place blame. Is because you guys run a business, you have a small pack of dogs, and you're coming to us asking for questions, not to be found fault in.
But I don't
We're
mind
definitely nervous. Like, you're going to take a look at our dogs, look at our house, look at our interactions, and be like, man,
I mean,
what is wrong
I
with
don't
them?
mind. I love constructive criticism. You could say, look, this is what I see. You tell me that you're doing X, Y, Z. If you tweak those things and it's better, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm cool with constructive criticism. And then I will try to change as much as I possibly can. I'm not saying I'm always going to do everything perfect. I definitely don't.
You guys are doing a lot of things right.
With the lack of
love to hear
using
it.
the crate that we were supposed to be using.
But even just this right there, that you can say that out loud. You're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to do that because it makes them uncomfortable. But you guys work in a field where accountability is huge. That you can say, I'm not using it like I'm supposed to. Cool. My job is done. You know the answers.
But where we aren't using the crate like we were supposed to, so our big thing is we have to separate Beckett and Shaq, not because of Shaq. We have to separate Beckett and Shaq because Beckett is crazy, like mentally unstable. And the answer was to keep them separated, to use the crates. We have found other ways to keep them separated. So we still separate them. We'll put the gate up, one's downstairs, one's in, one's outside. So we found ways to separate them. So we listen to you, and the separation is the answer. We just don't use the crate necessarily to separate them.
And I love that. Like, I just love that you're interpreting this stuff in a way, you're controlling space in a responsible way. That's what it is. Crate's just an easy way to put it. There's a crate, go in the box, right?
Yeah.
So simple. That's like the simplest of simple things. Go in the box.
It works.
But you guys now have gates. You have dogs in gym, dogs in front, met me with one dog at a time. I mean, you're controlling the space around the dogs and around your home.
And the energy's down. You know what? And Beckett will still, in passing, while one's going in and one's going out, still try to bite Shaq. And then he falls. So
it's really sad.
It's so sad.
He's got his
so
spinal issues, and it's tough. And so when he does certain movements, he literally like face plants. So we've talked about it.
It's actually terrible. But Shaq is, since he came back, is less reactive to it. And I don't know,
pretty cool.
really don't know why he's less reactive, but he's less reactive to Beckett biting him. He used to kind of pace around, and then just turn around and it would be balls to the wall, and Shaq would win every time.
Oh, every time.
Beckett would get staples or stitches, you name it. And this time, they went at it one time, and I called it off, and he walked away.
But you guys continue to manage the space. You guys continue. You've made changes in your own way since he's gone home, right? If we brought Shaq home and you kept doing things the same way, it would be the same.
It would return. So there was a big difference in his behavior without any interaction from us. There's a difference in our setup of it all, our how fast we react, how we know the situation. So like what his training, what he came back from 1 week with you guys.
10 days, but yeah.
Yeah, gives us that like 2 seconds of him having more patience, more confidence maybe to let us get in there before anything goes crazy. Like having just a couple seconds of his patience has been really great.
Cool. I mean, I love what I'm hearing right now.
It's really awesome.
Really, before we get into some more serious questions, how would you rank our 4 dogs?
Nope, we're not.
How would
we're
I
not,
rank?
We're not doing that.
No, we can. We can. You're a professional.
Man.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't even have to say 1 to 10, although I would love that.
Apples and oranges.
They're all
Riley, Beckett.
I like oranges more than apples. You can do these things.
So Beckett, when he was at my place, I mean, we hung out on the front lawn. You saw the photos?
Yeah, he just threw food, and he was happy as can be.
Lounging around. And I mean, it was so pleasant just sitting there with him.
Yeah.
Riley and Kobe don't want to do that.
No.
So
they're
Riley,
playful.
Yeah, they want to. And so comparing them, I don't know. But when they're separate, they're all 10s.
They're all
when
good
they're separate,
dogs.
they're all 10s.
Beckett is amazing on his own. Beckett is very challenging in this house. And if I could find a home where he could be a single family dog, and he would thrive.
Yep.
He would do so. So if anyone on here is like, you know what, I can take him. I will cover the medical bills. He will thrive being an only dog, and he would be so happy. He's just struggling being around Jack.
Yep. And that's and you guys are managing it. You're managing space. You're doing a great job of it. And again, like they're all 10s. Honestly, I mean that.
So Beckett, Shaq, Kobe, Riley.
Whatever.
It is rare that we get a dog that like we don't like, because in our own training, through this, we realize every dog is wonderful and beautiful, even the rage dog.
And
it's
so funny.
our
That's
obligation
how I
to
feel.
find out.
That's how I feel about. I look at every dog and I'm like, I just want to snuggle you. I want to hold you. I know you want to bite me, but I still want to be your best friend.
A lot of our dogs have challenges. A lot of our
Yeah.
dogs have bitten people. A lot of our dogs cannot be with other dogs. And the owners, when we meet them at first, they're in distress. And then we meet the dog and we take him out. We do these things as individuals. And we realize this dog can freaking do a lot of stuff. Look at
Well, you
this
know, we
thing.
said that about Shaq. Shaq couldn't be around other dogs. He'd bite him. He was around Hayden's new dog for 30 minutes and Staples. Because I held that dog. As soon as I held that dog and put that dog down, then he bit him.
Yeah. Space.
Yeah.
Right? The personal
This
space.
is before your magic.
Yeah,
touch.
it's before you. And he had, so we don't let him around other dogs. But you had him and he was around dogs and he was Travis had him around all these. I was like, this is amazing.
Super gradual integrations, super gradual. And is the dog in a good mood when it meets the other dog, right?
Yeah.
If you just say, here's two dogs, get along, and most dogs are going to have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Most
Is your
dogs
dog on its period? You know what I'm talking about, right? You
most
don't want
dogs
to
don't
go
go to
around
daycare.
Yeah.
Most dogs don't go to dog parks. Most dogs don't go to these places.
We don't do dog parks.
Right. Most people don't. Because most dogs are going to have, they are built to hunt. They are built to herd. They are built to protect. They are built to bite.
Yeah.
That's what they are here for. But our culture brings them together. Our
You
society.
really want them to be have friends to play with.
But
you
that's
really,
not-
really do.
All right, here's a question. Is there an age that is too old? Is a 3-year-old Australian Shepherd too late to start training? I believe no. I
No
don't think.
way. No way. And in fact, in our own lives, we're told to learn until the day we die. It'll help you live longer and happier. So stay active. A dog biologically develops through the first 2 years of its life. We deal with a lot of rescue dogs and a lot of dogs that carry baggage. And these dogs that have been on the streets or whoever for the first few months of their life, so those are some formidable months that have been foregone.
Yeah.
And so we have to undo a little bit of but there is no age. We get dogs that are 8, 9 years old. We have a 12-year-old dog in our kennel right now that we're not necessarily training, but we're managing it while it's with us to be happy and in a good mood.
Yeah.
And we're able to send content to the owners. And they're like, my dog is so happy right now. And they warned us about the issues that the 12-year-old dog had. And so there is no age. Certain things think about when you're 80, if you don't like your next door neighbor, can you be trained to like your next door neighbor? Probably not. Probably not. You're probably going to always not like them, but you can be trained to ignore them.
That's a good point.
Right.
Be trained to ignore them. All right, so say you have a dog like an Akita or a Belgium that's high energy. It's a really hot place. Someone asks, how do you get what's the best way to get their energy out? For us, we use the hose. The hose works 100%. Do you do dog shoes to walk them? Or what do you do?
So I really don't like the idea of getting the energy out.
I remember you saying that.
In our ethos, we really try to focus on calm. So we will walk a dog for 15 minutes or do an activity for 15 minutes and then crate so that the dog is on and then it learns how to be off. And when he's on, he's doing something constructive. There is a goal to the activity, whether it's ball or tug or walking. Something like the hose, that's cool.
You did some really cool activities that I think other people should know about. Maybe you should say the reason why. You had a box and you had random jugs and stuff in there and you threw food in there. Is that just for them to use their senses, or what is the purpose of that drill? Is that a good drill to keep their minds going? So we also use puzzles too. Is that kind of the same philosophy?
Love that. The puzzles are awesome. Love that. We do what's called basin training. We fill up a basin with plastic bottles and then we throw their kibble in there. A lot of dogs are going to walk up to that basin for the first time and I'm not going in there, right? So we'll empty the basin out, put some kibble in, the dog will get in the basin. We'll put one plastic bottle in.
That's just a big box.
It's a big box.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
box. Only their head fits in there.
Oh,
right?
you're talking about box training.
The box training that you did.
The wooden box.
Yeah.
Box training is dog meditation. You teach a dog to put its head in a box and hold it there.
Yeah,
right?
the box is roughly 18 by 18 inches,
Mhm.
roughly, and about 18 inches deep. Is
Yep.
that roughly?
Yes.
And then so they have to put their head and fully in to get wherever the kibble might be down there.
And their goal is to keep the head in the box. right?
Okay, why?
So box training, I learned about it through somebody over in the UK who worked for what would be the equivalent of the Navy SEALs.
Okay.
And they teach dogs like Shaq to put their head in the box and hold it there while they fire guns. And they teach the dogs how to focus and meditate under stress.
Really?
And we do the same things. The dogs like Shaq or other dogs that might have emotional issues, we teach them to put their head in the box. Cool. That's step 1. Hold it there. Step 2. Now let's add some distractions. I might kick the side of the box.
I thought you were going to say, I might kick the dog.
No. I might clap my hands.
You can handle it.
And see if they can just hold.
And just hold the head in there. And then they're focused on that box and they're not pulling their head out. What is that? Right?
Yeah.
And so box training, check out a guy named Pat Stewart. He has a podcast called The Canine Paradigm. But look up box training. It's a lot of people... It takes time to really build it up. But what I use box training for at home with Porky is she puts her head in the box and I Dremel her nails. And she has to keep her head in the box while I Dremel her nails. And she's a dog. She wants to like put her mouth on me when I'm doing her nails. And so I said, I'm going to box train her and I'm going to do her nails. And it took a long, long time. But
patience.
Now I can do her nails without her.
Okay, so what was the other box that you had that I saw them, even Beckett went in it. It wasn't actually in it, but he went to eat food out of it. Was that to train their brains to try to find their food? Or, you know what I'm talking about? You had pieces of kibble thrown in the box, and it looked like there was like milk jugs or old whatever.
Yep, plastic bottles, kibble. We want our dogs, they're ferocious. These things are apex predators. They should be able to dive into anything and get dinner, right? They should be able to get in that dumpster and eat, right? But our dogs in our culture are sensitive. They're not really challenged a lot. And so dogs need to be taught how to get into that turbulence, all that noise, bottles clanking together, and find the kibble. And if you have a timid, sensitive dog that's like, I don't want to go in there. You want to build them up and teach them how to be ferocious.
That was Kobe.
Confidence.
Yeah, and get those things out of the way. Go get that food, man. You're a dog. Get it. And we just, sometimes the basin, that's called basin training. You put the plastic bottles in. That's just, hey, we're going to remind you that you're a dog. And you can get that kibble. Yeah, you get.
So it's good for their brain.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So that's the same as kind of like the puzzles then.
Puzzles, with the basin, their paws are going in.
Oh,
there's noise.
So the puzzles they have to hit ours. They have to hit it and spin it.
I tell people that's like reading for dogs.
Really?
You can tell a kid to read a book, and he'll be tired afterwards. You don't have to wear the kid out. You don't have to wear the dog out. Give him a book. They'll be tired afterwards.
Oh, they sleep like a champ. Even lick pads. Do you believe in lick pads?
Totally, all day long.
I heard it's really good for their sensory. What is it? They say it releases good endorphins for them when they lick, and Riley can lick all day long. Like she cleans everyone's lick pads for an hour afterwards.
Yeah, that's what dogs do. They lick, and we give dogs Kongs, and we stuff them with peanut butter, bananas, and yogurt, and we leave them in the kennels with them, and they just sit there and lick these things. And it's like reading in the kennel, reading in their crates. And that's just an added thing in addition to going for walks, in addition to playing ball, in addition to doing basic obedience. When they go back in their crates, they can chew on a bully stick, they can lick on a Kong, or maybe they're going to chew on an antler. And so we give them things to do when they're in their bedrooms, just like kids.
Yeah, you do take antlers in the mail. I saw that on your.
We get them
really
from
that's pretty cool.
Austria.
And then you cut them up. Man, we
we
could talk forever. There's still so many questions we could go over, and we need to have you on again.
We'll have you on next season.
Yeah.
Travis and Chris next
maybe
time.
Travis next time will be good. He's been amazing with Shaq. He's so good. And you had the other 3.
Yep.
And so I really
thanks again to Kevin and Full Circle Training, or Full Circle Canine, excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you guys have learned something about his training style, which is probably very different than either you're doing or you've heard. I feel like it's a very different concept than what I had been used to. And one of my clients has referred me to you. And I'm super thankful for that. You've saved our house, I promise you.
I was going to kill him. Shaq's been here, calm as can be.
But no, and also how I said about Beckett, you guys, it's not that we want to get rid of Beckett. So don't judge me and be like, oh, she just wants to get rid of Beckett. No, we're trying to make Beckett's last little bit be the best little bit that we can possibly have for him. And it kills us to have to do this, and it's heartbreaking. But I think the best thing for him and the unselfish thing for me to do is to find a home for him where he can thrive being an only dog and just be loved on for his last little bit.
I rehomed a dog 4 years ago because it wasn't working in my life. And that dog is happy.
Right.
The new owner is super happy. And everybody's happier. Dog packs change. Things change.
And And I think for everything going on with him, I think that would be the best option for him. And maybe he will thrive. It can be my only hope.
We are big fans of rehoming and supporting the decisions that folks have to make to be happy, to be comfortable, and for dogs to be happy and comfortable too. Anything's on the table.
Yeah, so if anyone's looking for a only dog, please let us know. But again, thank you so much for coming today. This has been awesome. We'll have to pick back up because there's a million more questions.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate your time.
See you.